Welcome to VoteProPot-Cast, the award-winning cannabis news podcast brought to you by VoteProPot.com. Here are your hosts, Phil Adams, Jay Britton, and Andrew McCreadys.
Higher THC percentage, apparently, isn't necessarily better. Nebraska's governor gives an honest look at marijuana. Yeah, we'll see about that. And do aluminum cans suck all the buzz out of pot drinks? Jay's got the answer to that, but first, Jay's got a story that I think we can all be very happy about. Jay, hit it.
Yeah, man, especially me, since I'm a Virginia resident. It's not really a big story. It's just last week, a Virginia legislature approved a relatively broad decriminalization legislation. The measure passed.
Gets a couple of claps,
it says baby step.
Baby step.
But the measure passed by both the Senate and the House. And reduces the penalty for possession. Like I've talked about here before, how steep it is in Virginia. Now it's $25, less than half an ounce is a $25 fine. Before it was 530 days in jail.
Yeah.
Dude. For less than half.
That's just
nuts.
Vindictive, man.
So the bill requires that previous convictions and records for simple possession will be sealed, which is great.
That is a big step, actually.
It's not being expunged, they're just sealing it?
It's just sealing it, yeah. So other people can't see your record. And the other step is provisions requiring substance abuse screening and loss of driver's privileges for juveniles. I don't have a big problem. I don't have a big problem with that.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Make it as illegal as you want to for kids.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. Now, so that's about it. And even though Northam, the governor, the new governor, and both houses are Democrats, all Democrats. I mean, Richmond is all Democrat now. They still have no real plans for any kind of legislation to legalize medical.
Well, there's been rumors, hasn't there? There's been some talk, some mumblings about medical and about adult use.
I think you're right, Andrew. So, I mean, essentially, I think they're saying nothing this year.
I think you noticed, I know it happened in Maryland. They decriminalized, and medical was like 2 years later.
Not far behind.
Really?
It was right behind.
Well, that's good.
And I think you've seen that in a lot of states.
That's good to hear. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm in Virginia, so I thought I'd throw it out.
Well, I think that's true, Andrew. That they decriminalize. They wait and see if the world's going to end. It doesn't end, so they take the next step, which is medical, and that's the nose of the camel in the tent eventually, and hopefully it's the first step in a long chain.
Well, there's already is sort of a medical program in Virginia. I know that. Well, G-Leaf, I think it's 5 different companies got grow permits for medical.
All right.
And I heard that. I think that G-Leaf was one of them.
It's not legal, though. I mean, you can't get a card or a prescription or. But that's a step in the direction towards.
But the people in the know, the people who are spending millions and millions of dollars on it, are starting to spend the money.
That's
and
true.
I have a feeling that
why would they spend money if they didn't?
Especially businesses companies that have already established in other states. They know how it works. They know when to get in.
Still, Jay, be careful over there because it is Virginia, and don't go getting yourself thrown away in jail. We need you.
Thank you, buddy.
All right.
Let's hear for the Commonwealth. There you go.
Thank you for joining us for Vote Pro Podcast. If you enjoy the show, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts at votepropot.com/contact or send us an email at podcast@votepropot.com and please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to be part of the show, call our message line at 240-257-2441. Tell your friends about us and be sure to like, follow and share us on social media. Just go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter and do a search for Vote Pro Pot. Now, back to the boys.
So when it comes to THC, some is good. Is more better? That's the question.
So when you go to the liquor store to buy a bottle of liquor, a bottle of liquor, or wine, do you look for the bottle of liquor that has the most alcohol in it? So, oh man, this one's 190 proof. It's 99% alcohol.
I go straight for the Everclear, man. Yes, absolutely.
Right.
No.
So you don't. That's ridiculous to even think that.
Yeah, you're right.
But unfortunately, that's sort of the scenario at a lot of dispensaries. People coming in, they're just concerned with getting the weed that has the highest THC content. Now more and more people are starting to say a few things that, well, it's not just the THC that gives you the psychotropic effect and all the other benefits from this magical plant. So what they're saying now is that you really should do a test. Now, what I was reading an article here from substancemarket.com, and they were saying how what you can do is you do your own little test. So what you do, you sit down with a bunch of different strains, and you look at the terpene profile, and you get to know. So when you smell it, go, wow, this one's going to have a lot of linacol or myrcene or limonene, all the different terpenes. So you sort of get a feel for what they smell like. Like, for example, limonene. The effect of it is it's going to elevate your mood and help relieve your stress level, and it's going to have a smell of a citrus smell, right? So what you do, you find the ones that which are strong in the certain terpenes, and then you try it and you feel the effect. What some people are saying, they're going, I found one with a myrcene that, and it had it wasn't really super high THC effect. But when I smoked this stuff, man, I'm couch locked. I'm down for the night, man. I get a great night's sleep. But it's not 30%. It's only 20%. But then I got a 31% that doesn't make me tired. So, and I also believe that it's different for every person.
Yeah, and Faye has brought that up before on the show.
Yeah.
About her feeling that terpenes have a lot to do with the high, which I'd never heard before. Is that what you would say, or?
Like Dr. Behrman said, it's the ensemble effect, because it's not just the THC, it's all these different compounds working together. So I advise that you sort of maybe do some experiments. Go out and get a bunch of different strains, go to the dispensary and get 1 gram of like 5 or 6 different. And every day sit down with it with a clear head and try some, see how it feels, how you respond to it. Make some notes. And then in the future, you'll go, well, today I feel anxiety, so I know this strain really works for me. Or I need to get a good night's sleep, I need this one. Or my back is killing me, but I got a lot to do today, so I'm going to smoke this. So you get a feel for it. The other thing that I've been experimenting with now is that I've found some of this CBD flower, and with these great terpene profiles.
Right.
So what I'm doing, I'm finding different strains. I'm mixing some of these CBD flower with THC flower and getting a lower THC, but I find that I like it better because of the overall effect. Because sometimes, I'm getting to the age now where sometimes I really don't want to get too wasted, but I sort of enjoy smoking, or I want to smoke enough.
I usually don't want to get too wasted.
Yeah.
My back,
no,
right? Right. Because I have back problems, and a certain amount really helps me sleep, and I feel better. But I don't want to get wasted, so I find if I mix it with the CBD, especially with the CBD flower, there's one strain in particular, it's called a Magic Bullet. I mix that with an indica, man, and on my back, I sleep great. It's great. And I don't get, and I'm not, stupid.
So are you saying that, because I didn't realize this, if it's the case, the terpenes actually add to the psychotropic?
I think it guides the buzz.
It does. Really?
Sort of guides it.
I just kind of heard that recently, like through Faye.
To me, it gives the accents to it. That's what. I don't think it's as much sativa and indica as it is terpene profiles.
No
I think some indicas and sativas probably tend to have certain terpenes profiles in common, and that's why some say that indicas will make you tired and sativas will wake you up. That's my theory.
Well, that's pretty interesting. So don't just necessarily go for whatever's the highest in THC.
Right.
Find a fit.
You want to balance on all the compounds, right?
Well, on our not related topic,
we have a lot of those.
We do. We just go from one thing to the next.
Nice segue.
This is a story from a local CBS affiliate in Omaha, Nebraska. Now, adult use is legal in 11 states now, right?
Correct.
Yeah, Nebraska's not one of them.
Really?
No. They don't have
and won't be anytime soon.
Won't be anytime soon. And part of the reason is the pushback that they're getting from their governor, Pete Ricketts. And he came out with, he has a weekly column, and this one he called An Honest Look at Marijuana. Now, we're going to take an honest look at marijuana and see how freaking honest it really is. Nebraska shouldn't be dazed and confused by all these well-funded sales tactics. You know what? Shut up. First of all, dazed and confused. You know, that's the whole, we're a bunch of druggies. Marijuana is an illegal drug according to federal law. Yeah, no kidding. It's illegal because medical experts have determined. Oh, really? Have they now? Now, Dr. David Behrman is not apparently a medical expert.
Right.
You know,
you have to agree with Ricketts.
Yes, he is.
Albert Coles is not a medical expert. Had no idea what he's talking about.
Right.
You know, Dr. Mechulam in Israel's not a medical. Okay, so medical experts. That should be the end of the story, according to.
Right. I'm done reading.
On the basis of solid scientific evidence that the drug is harmful. We're going to get back to this whole scientific evidence thing in a minute. He said it's also illegal because public officials have recognized the social cost and dangers of marijuana use. All right. Governor cites data from legalized marijuana such as Colorado and Oregon, and that saying that they have experienced what he calls spikes in car accidents due to, quote, drugged drivers. Now, Andrew, I'm gonna throw that one to you because you know what kind of bullshit that is.
Well, what happened? This is what happened in Colorado after they legalized. What they started doing was after every accident that involved a fatality, they would test everyone involved for marijuana. Now, if you had smoked cannabis within the last 30 days, you will test positive.
Right.
Now, there's just because you test positive doesn't mean you're under the influence of cannabis at the time. And also, just because you were involved in an accident, you were at the scene or driving a car, if it wasn't your fault, how can they say that cannabis was the fault of the accident?
Taken up.
For one example, it was a pedestrian hit by a car who was under the influence of cannabis, who tested positive for cannabis. And I'm not sure whose fault it was, but still, I mean, sort of hard to say.
Usually when a pedestrian is hit, it's usually the car's fault.
You would think.
Well, they won the accident, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening. So to say that stat that marijuana has related to increased fatalities is patently false.
It's meaningless.
It's just the way of right. They did a study that really doesn't prove anything.
Right.
And most of those stats have been corrected anyway. So dipshit Ricketts here needs to read a little further along, you know, because we've seen it. We cover all these stories, and we've seen that a lot of these people who keep the statistics in Colorado and elsewhere have come out and said, oops, we got to adjust this a little bit. You know, you have to take this into account. You know, that's what statistics are about.
Right.
I mean, you have to analyze the numbers.
Now, Governor Ricketts adds that studies show, he says, marijuana use causes long-term damage to cognitive abilities and increases depression and suicidal behaviors in young adults.
I've never heard that. Where is this study?
Yeah, I haven't heard that.
See, here's
either.
the thing. He cites no studies.
No footnotes, huh?
No footnotes. No attribution. Nothing. Simply
No evidence.
Studies have shown. Okay. Now, how much bullshit have we been asked to swallow on the basis of studies have shown? And in typical fashion, he doesn't cite any studies. It's an outrageous claim.
So this happened in 1939 when they came up with this medical study to say that marijuana is harmful to you. That's what he's saying? Is that what he's saying? Because that's when it was made illegal.
We don't know, Andrew, because he doesn't cite the study. He doesn't give any attribution whatsoever. He simply says studies have shown. Now, we all know that if you have the resources, and this Ricketts fellow is the son of somebody who owns a huge company that you've all heard of. And which one it is eludes me right now. This, but you can, if you have the resources, you can commission a study to tell you whatever you want it to say. Is it peer reviewed? Is it respected in the industry? Well, that's a different story. But it's a study, and he goes on to say this is troubling since 23% of 12th grade students nationally report having used marijuana within the past month. Now, that may be true or it may not be true, but he doesn't cite where the statistics come from. He just says 23%. The studies have also shown that 68.2% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
Right.
So we know that. Marijuana use impairs memory, shortens attention span, and hinders learning. All of this is outrageous and backed by nothing, at least in his Let's Be Honest About Marijuana article. Now he goes on, he says, the data is reflected in real life stories. And when he says real life stories, he means real life story. Levi Pongi, age 19, apparently, died after consuming a marijuana cookie and jumping off a balcony. Okay, here's what they don't tell you about Mr. Pongi. Okay, he had ingested. He was 19 years old. He was visiting from Wyoming. He had never had any cannabis before. It was the first time he ever tried it. He ate an entire cookie that was labeled 6.5 servings that contained a warning. Cut the cookie into 6 pieces and only eat one piece at a time. Well, like our friend, the comedian, he ate the whole cookie and started bouncing, tried to sleep, started bouncing off the walls. It was 6 times the recommended dose.
Damn.
Okay. And the kid freaked out and he jumped from his balcony. Okay.
That's the one case.
Did he personally jump off or did he fall off because he was freaking out?
Well, they know that he was on top of the balcony and then he was down under the balcony and dead. Whether he jumped or fell or said 2 employees witnessed the fall and told the police no one was near him at the time. So he wasn't pushed or thrown. Right. He did it himself one way or another. That's what we know. There was 4 other people with him who were eating cookies. They didn't jump to their deaths. And this is a one-time thing that happened tragically. The poor guy flipped out.
It's a shame,
but to say that this is what marijuana does to people is so disingenuous and so dishonest. And this is his reason for, making it illegal and arresting otherwise law-abiding citizens in Nebraskans, and throwing them into, maximum security prisons, or prisons at any rate. This is not an honest look at marijuana at all. This is a highly dishonest, disingenuous, and misleading look at marijuana, and he should be ashamed of himself, and people should call him on it and push back.
I looked this guy up while you were reading the story there. You're right. This family has some scratch, brother. So his father is Joe Ricketts, I think it's his father. He started TD Waterhouse. Right. He started Ameritrade. Right. He bought TD Waterhouse for $1.7 billion. Yeah. He has a part ownership in the Cubs. He owns a TV network, CSN Chicago. This is a family. Yeah. So
this is Michael Bloomberg of Nebraska.
I think so. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we just thought you should be aware. And when you hear this kind of crap, give it back to them because it's crap.
So the numbers are out from 2019, guys. And Colorado broke a record, set a record, $1.75 billion in cannabis sales last year. Billion with a B.
With a freaking B. Wow. Well, good for you, Colorado entrepreneurs in the weed industry.
Colorado, get this straight, Colorado's population is around 6 million. There's more people in Maryland than in Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
No kidding. Well, that netted Colorado more than $300 million in tax revenues. So, and they're divvying that money up in, lots of buckets from education, public health, drug education, public safety. So, I mean, that's a lot of money in the coffers of a state.
Right. And
so
their tax rate, I don't know what the tax rate is on it in Colorado, but apparently it's not prohibitive because people are buying the legal weed.
Right. Exactly. And look, compare that to California, where people are 3/4 of the people are still buying it on the street because the taxes are 80%.
Right.
Right. So
it showed that in 2018 the numbers were pretty flat over 2017, and they say that the reason for that was that the prices of flour dropped significantly. So anyway, way to go, Colorado!
Way to go, Colorado!
Do you think one of the reasons Colorado sells so much, and same with Illinois and Massachusetts, is the fact that so many people come from other states to buy it and take it back to their home state?
Oh, I think that's got to be part of it, right?
Yeah.
Well, we know that's big in Massachusetts. That's happening big time.
Right. And they're taking it back to New York and New Jersey.
Right. We did a story about a dispensary right in Massachusetts near the New York border. They said a good 30% of our customers show New York State licenses when they come in.
Well, I think it's different in the Northeast because the state's so small, so it's much easier for someone to travel from New Hampshire or whatever. Colorado's a big ass state. You're not going to drive from Utah to Colorado, or I guess you could.
Well, you could, but it's a long damn way.
If you're in the middle of Utah, that's a long ass drive, man.
If you're out of weed. You don't remember, guys? Right. Remember back in college? How far would we have driven?
A long
to get legal, clean, high quality?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Bulgaria.
Look how far have you driven in your life? I know. My old setup was I had to drive a good 45 minutes if I ever wanted to get a stash. I had to, my guy was nowhere near where I lived. So
it's nice that I could just drive to the store on the corner.
I know. And now, God,
I love that.
They'll deliver. They'll deliver. You can sit there and get an 1/8 of ounce of weed, a vape pen, and a pizza delivered. Never leave
nice.
the house.
Yeah, right.
Not necessarily in that order.
Just to go to the door. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Shit. You guys suck.
Yeah.
Good old days.
Well, Virginia's, on its way. Come on.
Yeah, I hope so.
Think positive.
So.
Some people love weed. They'll drive a long distance for it. Some people love weed so much that there's a couple, and I am proud to say, from Baltimore, Maryland.
Ba-da-ba.
Go Ravens.
Baltimore.
That named their 2 daughters Indica and Sativa.
Well, they're probably not the only ones.
And then the 2 girls have a cousin, a little boy, that was born on 420. Who I hope his name is Bud. I hope his name is Bud. They really,
but since they're from Baltimore, you know what they really call them?
What?
Han.
That's right.
Hey, Han.
Where y'all going on Saturday, Han? You going to those game on Saturday?
Saturday?
No, Han, we're going down the ocean on Saturday.
Yeah, they don't go to the beach. They go down the ocean.
Going down the ocean.
Oh, jeez.
You Marylanders.
Yeah. And nothing in Maryland. We don't eat Egg McMuffins. We eat Egg-a-muffins.
Egg-a-muffins. So have any of you tried any of these cannabis-infused beverages?
Yes, I have.
You have, Andrew. What did you have? What kind was it?
I have tried.
Is there anything you haven't tried, Andrew?
Well, no. I mean, I was out. I mean, I've traveled. I've been to conferences.
Look, Andrew, to tell it, listen to the whole story. Andrew will text us. We're supposed to record at like 6:30, and he'll be like, dude, I just realized I dropped a 100 milligram edible. We got to do this quick. Can you get online?
No, I didn't do
He did not do that.
We got 45 minutes, man. Let's get this going.
I was making some salsa, and I put infused olive oil into it, and I thought it was 10 milligrams a tablespoon. But it was 30 milligrams a tablespoon. When I was making the salsa, I ended up using like 3 tablespoons. Then I'm eating it, about halfway through this bowl of salsa, and I looked at the bottle and went, oh, shit.
I'm dead.
There's a couple extra zeros there.
No, but also, I'm sort of a professional. I mean, I have a tolerance.
Sort of.
Oh, yeah. He's the Snoop Dogg of Vote Pro Podcast.
That's right. Has it kicked in yet?
I'm fine.
Let us know how you feel later,
and I'm not
Snoop.
that bad. I microdose. I'm a big proponent of micro. And lately, I've been smoking. I've been using a lot of the CBD hemp flower mixed with THC.
Yeah.
And so the stuff I'm smoking is it's like 1970s again. It's like 5-6% THC.
That's nice.
And it's great, but I get so much CBD in my back. And I've just been diagnosed. I haven't told you this, Phil, or I haven't told either of you. I got diagnosed. I told you I had problems with my back. I thought it was my kidney. Turns out I have arthritis in my spine.
Oh, shit. I got it in my neck. So,
Yeah, we're getting old. I got it everywhere.
But, Andrew, do you remember what kind of drink it was?
It was a Dixie Elixir, and it was a fruit punch.
Fruit punch. Was it in like a bottle or in a can?
It was in a bottle. It was in a plastic bottle.
Okay.
Well, there's a little bit of a setback here with regard to that. Story I'm looking at, I got from Yahoo Finance Canada by Jeff Lagerquist, and the title is "Cans Suck the THC Buzz Right Out of Pot Drinks." What? So the issue here, and it affects a couple of really big companies like Canopy Growth. Some of these have already set up production lines and so forth to create their drinks, infused soft drinks or infused adult beverages with THC in them. And what scientists have found recently is there's a major issue with the liners of aluminum cans. The material what they do is when they make an aluminum can for beer, Coke, or whatever,
right,
they coat it, obviously. You've seen that before. And they do that because aluminum greatly affects the taste of liquid products. In short period of time, the Coke will taste weird, the beer will taste weird. Okay. So they cover it with some kind of lining. Well, of course, these cannabis companies are going out and contracting these can manufacturers to make their cans, and they already have packed some. And what scientists have determined that at the molecular level, and Andrew's told us this before, THC never really emulsifies. It never really blends 100% with water, with liquid.
Right.
So it's not water soluble at all.
It's not water soluble, so essentially it floats around inside the drink. But what's happening is those molecules attach to the lining. So it's not dangerous. It doesn't hurt you. But over time, when the can sits, it's manufactured, it sits on a truck, then it goes to a warehouse, then it goes to 7-Eleven or whatever, then it sits on a shelf. And over a period of a fairly short period of time, a couple of weeks, the potency drops greatly. So you've got a label that says it's 20% or 25%, whatever it is.
You're not getting that.
You're not getting anywhere near that.
Yeah.
So chemists right now are working on a way to either come up with a new kind of lining. That's going to affect everything because then the can manufacturers have to come up with a way to manufacture it.
Well.
And of course, we've talked about companies that are trying to figure out how to emulsify it so that it is water soluble. They haven't figured that out yet.
Is that going to be a good thing? Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
What, to be water soluble?
I don't know. Because once it's water soluble, so you get a water soluble concentrate. You know what that means? You'll be able to inject it.
That's true.
Right.
And once you can inject it, then people are going to start dying.
That's a good point because you can
reach that LD50 in a much quicker fashion that way. Don't inject it, folks. Just smoke it.
Yeah.
You can't inject anything. You can't inject oil or anything like that. Now that would just kill you because it's just I don't think putting oil into your vein is a good idea.
No.
No. So the only options these companies have that are up and running now are to go to glass bottles or other things. But apparently, a couple of the real big guys are investing in some of these technologies like the water-soluble technologies and the new liners and stuff. So if you're looking for your THC-infused drinks, the companies that were coming out with them in a can, most of them are on hold right now. They're trying to figure out what to do about this.
So buy them in a bottle or, just smoke it, man.
Well, I have a quick little recipe hack for you.
All right.
This is great. You can take some milk and get a little RSO oil or infuse it with flour, decarboxylate, infuse with flour. So you get just regular cream or milk, and you infuse it. If you did it with Rick Simpson oil, I would heat it, mix the Rick Simpson oil in there, and let it simmer and keep on stirring it until it incorporates. Then chill it, then make a White Russian out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Have you tried it?
In my dreams, I haven't tried.
Well, once this olive oil wears off, he'll get right on
in
that.
my mind's taste bud. Actually, what happened? I was watching the Bill and Bert podcast. Bert Kirshner and Bill Burr.
Yeah. Those guys are hilarious.
Two of the funniest guys. You put them together.
Oh my God,
it's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was listening there, and they were talking about what their white Russian stories about. I had 12 white Russians. And,
God, those were big in the 70s. I remember drinking those.
Oh God! And then think about it, it's all that cream,
all
sugar.
that cream, man. It would get ugly.
But the White Russian is, as far as cream drinks, it's the best cream drink out there. It really is.
Definitely.
Sometimes
delicious.
the White Russian can really hit the spot. It's a great cocktail.
Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed our little foray into the world of cannabis, etc.
And we're into the 100s, right?
Yeah, this is our 101st episode.
Second, maybe.
Right, we had our 100th episode. We had a little technical difficulty.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we apologized for it, or at least the technician, the technician who was responsible for the faux pas did a apology.
He
did. First time on air.
Yes.
What was his name? What's his name again?
His name was Rodiga.
Rodiga.
So I called Phil and I was like, dude, I'm editing this podcast and your whole track is gone after 20 minutes, man. What happened? He's like, I don't know. It's a machine. So anyway, I said, well, we should probably put something up front so people know it's coming. And he came up with that. I thought it was great.
Anyway, if you did enjoy this episode, these guys are still obsessed with the last one. But if you enjoyed this one, or any of them, it doesn't matter. Do us a favor. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Maybe give a nice review. Wouldn't hurt. If you think of it, if you have a moment, we'd love it. What else can they do? Jay?
Well, you can send us an email.
Oh, yeah, they could do that.
At podcast@VoteProPot.com. You can call our message line at 240-257-2441. And probably the biggest thing you can do to help us is to make sure you hit the subscribe button when you're listening to this show.
That way you just get notifications. You always know when we have the latest one coming out. So you never miss an episode. And really, why would you? Come on. And we also hope that you will find it in your hearts to check out the Last Prisoner Project. And check out their website. What's their website there, Jay?
lastprisonerproject.org.
No kidding. Really? And if it stirs you and inspires you, send them a donation. It sure would help. There are people doing hard time for simple possession, and it's just plain wrong. What else, Andrew?
Well, there's so much going on in the world of cannabis every week that it's impossible for us to even scratch the surface on our weekly podcast. So, what we do, we share a lot of information on social networking. So please go to LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter and do a search for VoteProPot.
Lock me up, find me good, label me a menace to your quiet neighborhood. I don't grow no plants, the state says I can't. That's not freedom, freedom, that's the point. Smoke a bowl, I roll a joint, do what I want. If I hurt nobody, that's the point. And if I want to get high, why shouldn't I? That's not freedom, freedom, that's the point. Decide what's best for you and me. Smoke a bowl or roll a joint. Do what you want if it hurts nobody. That's the point. So let's get high, yeah, you and I. It's called freedom, freedom, freedom. It's called freedom, freedom, freedom. Oh yeah, that's the point.